Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you getting into my weekly check-in. We are weekly checking in on Friday the 7th through Thursday the 13th of February. So this is week 2 of my weekly check-in and we're just going to get into the numbers. I had one no spend day, but as you can see, there's not a lot of transactions happening. We've had still several days of terrible weather, really cold weather. We had a few mild days, but a lot of rain. We're expecting more rain, so I doubt if we're going to be going a lot of places again this weekend. We did have a guest at our house last weekend, so that will be reflected in today's numbers and what we spent, but it was actually a pretty low spend, even though last weekend was the Super Bowl as well. We were at home, had our own little Super Bowl thing, and it was really nice, so we'll talk about that. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. This is what I do. I do weekly check-ins, monthly budgets, paycheck to paycheck budgets, and I close all that out with a paycheck to and the last week of the weekly check-in, and that gives me all the numbers I need for the new month. I use those numbers to make decisions on where the money's coming from to pay debt or to put into savings or any goals or anything that we need. So that is what I do there. But let's go ahead and get back to the numbers in the weekly check-in. So these are the weekly check-in numbers. I think, yeah, here we go. These are the weekly check-in sheets. And basically what I do is the information I take from that calendar on the different days that I spend on, I put what we spent here, and then I come up with a balance, and that balance tells me what I have available for the rest of the month, and then I write down what I spend and I keep going through the month. Now there is no week 5 this month. It's a short month, 28 days, but some months I do have 5 weeks. Here I do know, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark it off, these check marks represent that I've already made a payment for what I spent, and I did remember that last week I was a penny off on my payment when I did my numbers off camera, and so I added that penny to this week's weekly check-in. So you will be seeing that as well. I like using a calendar system for the days that I spend, so I can kind of visually see where do I spend the most money, what days. It's usually the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and things that happen on those days. And this month is no different than any other, except for that we're just not spending as much money. I think we're just kind of on a low spend mode right now and really thinking things through and considering how much everything costs and just trying to stretch every dollar that we have. So that is where we are here. And let's go ahead and get started with the numbers. Here is my little note that I keep for all the spending categories. I write them all down. Grocery household is always the first one I go to, and that is in the pink stickers here. Meijer is my grocery store. It's the closest grocery store I have, and we're just going to go through what I spent. So on this day, I did a grocery pickup for $95.57 and got extra fruit in those fruit cups. One of my sons still loves eating out of those. I still love eating out of those as well from childhood. But I got fruit cups, milk. I'm always buying milk because we go through 3/4 of a gallon a day. So between 4 adults, and that's a lot of milk. So not quite a gallon a day, but close to it. We always have like fries and stuff in the freezer. I got a couple cases of water. I got crackers and snacks and stuff. I needed pasta sauce and juice and frozen staples like chicken and things like that, some breakfast stuff, and some snacks. So all that totaled was $95.57. And then the next grocery thing I had, this was Super Bowl Sunday. We did go in for $40.40. I did go in with my husband. I tried not to during the winter months because of cold and flu season. But if I do go in, I wipe down those buggies really good where I'm pushing the handlebars and stuff. And I make my time in there minimal as possible so I don't get sick because I have gotten sick just going to the grocery store and coming home. And don't want that happening again. But if I can all help it, I would do a grocery pickup. On this day, though, I did go inside and my husband and I purchased a few items that I hadn't quite got to for the new week. My husband loves fruit to have in his lunch while he is driving. Most of his job requires him to drive an hour or two away or anywhere in between. And so he either likes apples or bananas. And right now we're into bananas. And I have been craving bananas like crazy. So I don't know if I have low potassium or something in it that is really helping my body. But my body's craving it. So I'm like, there we go. So I went and picked up some bananas, which were pretty cheap. They were only like, I think $1 or $2 for a small bundle. But they have to be eaten, and we eat at least 1 or 2 every day, so you got to eat them quickly or the bananas just don't go very well. They don't last very long, let's put it that way. So here I spent less than $1 on bananas, and then my husband likes Milo's tea, sweet tea, and the single serve bottles, which are about, I think they're $1.69 a bottle, and I'll buy 4 or 5 of those a week so he can put in his lunches, and he likes basically 1 of those a day. So 7 days a week I try to make sure, but I know I go to the store frequently enough. I buy them 4 at a time. That way I don't wipe out their shelf because they don't have a large stock of those. And eggs, the controversial egg price, a dozen, $5.49 for extra large eggs where I'm at. Not the largest, but the extra largest. But the largest weren't much cheaper. They were like maybe 50 cents cheaper. They were still over $5. Not even 50 cents, like 40 cents cheaper. Regardless, egg prices are crazy. So this was $40.40. Over here, I got some ham salad. And I got a couple pounds of ground beef. So, and I get the leanest meat possible, so it's like over $7 a pound for the ground beef, but it's healthier, and I don't like dealing with the grease and stuff, and I don't have to deal with that with the leaner meats, so I do enjoy that. And then I did my big grocery haul here on Wednesday. Now, Wednesday, that was a pickup order, so I can minimize how much exposure I had in the grocery store. And this order had a lot of different things, a lot of different coupons. Not everything was necessary, but it was what I got. So I needed to get multivitamins for my husband. So that was a good chunk, about $15 worth. Another 3 gallons worth of milk, and they're at $2.76 a gallon right now. So milk is expensive for us. So I got snacks and orange juice and tortillas and juices and more water because we drink a lot of water. And then they have this sale that is buy 2 soda cases, get the 3rd one free. So if I buy them individually, they're like over $8.50 a 12-pack for Kansas soda. But if I catch the sale where it's buy 2, get 1 free, it lowers the price to, let's see what we actually spent. It was $8.49 a case. You multiply that by 2, that gives us the $16.98 that they charge for the 2, and then we got 1 free. If you divide it by 3 cases, because you're actually getting 3, it brings the price down to $5.66. Now, when I buy these, they last for more than a month or 2. Once for one of my sons, he requests it, he gives us money, and we buy groceries for him. And so I'm going to honor that request, of course. And he doesn't have more than 1 a day, which is awesome. He's very good in control of that. And the other set, the same amount of money, so it's twice. So we're spending $16.98 2 different times. His is my husband's ginger ale. He likes the ginger ale. And occasionally I'll get 1 or 2 out of them, but mostly it's just for them. And then I don't have to buy it until I won't be buying any more soda until sometime in March, probably the 2nd week of March. So yeah, I think that was a really good deal. And I try to catch those and only buy soda when those are on sale. And then that's it. And then I bought some other things like crescents and straws, because we use straws in our home, medicine stuff, ketchup, snacks and toilet paper and paper plates, more bananas, and then some meats like chicken breast and steak. And I also got some beef stew in the larger chunks, and for a beef stew that I'm getting ready to do this weekend. So it's cold this weekend, and I definitely want to make sure I had plenty of that. So a lot of this was restock for the sodas, and some of this, and that was what, 17 is what? So it's about $34 worth of soda that we purchased, but like I said, it'll take us into the second week of March, and that should be fine. So those, they ended up to $207.31. And then yesterday I bought all the ingredients I needed to purchase to make a large lasagna at a 13 by 9. It was like a cake pan, but it was like a heavy-duty foil pan. So I had to buy the foil pan, and I bought a Takeaways by Reynolds bowl to put lettuce in for a salad, side salad. And then I bought some things like carrot sticks and little cherry tomatoes. What else did I get? Oh, and I bought croutons and dressing, two small bottles of dressing. And everything I needed for the lasagna. So the 2 pounds of ground beef, I got the cheeses that went with it, and all of that. I had the pasta sauce, so got everything but the pasta sauce. And what I spent out of this $60.66, $44, almost $45 of it went to making that meal, and that meal should last 2 or 3 days. Because a friend from church, her husband is deployed for 3 weeks, and he's in the National Guard, and it's just them. So when she came home last night, she didn't have to cook dinner. She had lasagna, and it was a simple meat sauce lasagna, and yeah, it was, hopefully, I haven't heard back. She didn't call and say she didn't like it. I'll see her on Sunday, but hopefully it's enough food for her to have and enjoy with her 2 kids. She has 2 little ones, and just really enjoy everything. So $15 of it was my stuff that while I was at the grocery store, I would pick up these banana things that I really want bananas. It's so crazy. I bought more bananas, and I got more tea, and I got more odds and ends stuff that I was like, well, I want to be at the store, and a few days later, I don't have to. I'm just going to get it now. So I can go to the grocery store every day and buy a little bit every day, and it's ridiculous, but I shop that way, and I've never considered shopping any other way. So if I can go without going to the store, it makes life easier as far as the budget, but I tend to forget a lot, so I don't always get everything that I need. So those items are what I purchased for my groceries. That's my biggest things and the longest things to go through for me. Let's go ahead and total up what we actually spent at the grocery store, and I will be right back. So we spent $403.94, which was well within our budget range and not a problem. Next we have our restaurants, and this is an abbreviation for restaurants if you didn't know, and restaurants are always in blue, and we had 3 restaurants. So, and I think it's funny the way I did everything. So Friday night's pizza night, Papa John's, my sons ordered a pizza and had it delivered, and that was $31.63. And then Saturday I went to a restaurant called Sonny's Barbecue and picked up enough meals for 5 of us. Yeah, 5 people. So that's about $14 a meal. That was $72.23, and you get your main dish and a couple of sides. So it was really good though. Typically we would go to the restaurant, but we decided to eat at home, and it was more comfortable for everybody in the family to eat at home. My parents picked up what they wanted. That wasn't a part of this. They paid for their own meals, and then we paid for mine family, which is 4 adults, and then my father-in-law, who was here that weekend. I picked him up here on Thursday, and he was with us over Super Bowl weekend, so that was pretty cool. So that was, these are our 2 eating outs. I'm trying to remember. Oh, I fixed a chicken pot pie here. What do we have here? Oh, we went and visited my father-in-law's sister, and they did dinner for us that night. And then here we did dinner with my father-in-law. So we saved some money this weekend. Normally we would get dinner out every night he's here, but because his sister took care of it that night, we didn't have to worry about it. So that's why it's less than what I expected, but that's really good. And then last night, even though I spent all day baking a lasagna, and y'all don't understand, I don't like to cook. I don't enjoy cooking. And my church did what they call a meal train. They use the meal train app. And so when somebody has a baby, or if somebody's in the hospital, or somebody's sick, and we want to do meals for families in our church, that could help, or in our neighborhoods and stuff, people that we, want to take care of in our community. We set up a meal train. You set up appointment time, and then you tell them what you're going to make, or if you're going to donate or give, not donate, but give like a gift card to a DoorDash or whatever. I decided to make lasagna here, and I made this whole big lasagna spread, and we still ordered Chick-fil-A for dinner because I couldn't fix their meal and our meal the same night. So it was $40.32, and I was happy after I delivered that to eat my Chick-fil-A. Though, and the biggest reason I don't make like a large amount of lasagna, I could freeze part of it and eat it. One, my family is not big on leftovers, and that size of a lasagna is a lot. And I always throw half of it out, and I don't like wasting food that way, so I just don't cook it very often. So let's total up what we had in restaurants, and I'll be right back. I'm looking out from my window. All right, we spent $144.18. I had no miscellaneous. I have no copay. We did have one gas transaction. This is the day I drove my father-in-law back to go home, and that was $48.37. That's how much we spent in gas from Thursday to Monday. And I just filled the tank full, drove him. That was all the gas we spent. So I don't need to buy gas. I might have to buy gas again, maybe on the next weekly check-in, because I know right now I'm at a half a tank. And when it gets close to where I only have a quarter tank left, that's when I buy gas. Or when my mile range says 100 miles or within 100 miles. I try not to go below that. It's just a habit I've formed all these years. So gas was $48.37. And then is there anything else? No unbudgeted, because we have no real buffer in the checking account. Very little. And we also have bills. So let's go ahead and go back to the weekly check-in here. Now I fully fund everything at the beginning of the month, and then I subtract on my way down and divide by the number of weeks that are left. You can set a specific number per week. Like this is just for me to kind of reference a little bit. If I did $375 a week for 4 weeks, then we would be good. But sometimes I don't always, like last week, I didn't do all $375, so I have money left over. So this is where the details are. These are just something to reference the average for a week, because we don't shop that way. We don't spend based on these numbers all the time. And so that can change from time to time, basically if you have a low spend month or a high spend month, things like that. So we're going to put what we spent in here. Okay, so now these numbers are going to tell me, these balance numbers are going to tell me what I have left for the rest of the month for the next 2 weeks. And this will carry me until the end of the month. So I'm going to be divided by 2 to see how much I can average per week and if I can stay within that range. If not, that's okay. So here we go. We have $1,191.63 left for the grocery budget. We're going to take out the $403.94 that we spent, and that leaves us for the rest of the month $787.69. And there's only 2 weeks left in this month, so you divide by 2. That gives us an average of $393 a week. So close to 400, which is about my average, and we should be okay. Now that I have that number in mind, I'm just going to pay attention as I go. That 390 is my limit, and hopefully still have enough for the rest of the month, and try not to overstock too much. Stocking up and overstocking is one of my weaknesses, especially with sales. Sometimes it's not the right time to buy something, and I could have waited a little longer. So I'm still figuring out how to use sales and coupons and still stay within a good budget range. It's not easy, but I'm figuring it out. All right, so restaurants, I had $338.47 minus the $144.18 that I spent, and that gives me $194.29. Divide that by the next 2 weeks. That's about $97 a week. I wanted $100 a week, so it's close enough, and we can plan our eating out based on this a little bit easier. I know today's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. It is Friday, and I think we're just going to order pizza in. We don't want to go out on holidays in large crowds. If you don't know, we are a military family. My husband retired Navy. He does have PTSD and high anxiety and all these other issues. So we avoid crowds a lot, and holidays are the worst times to go out and celebrate. So we're not doing anything for tonight as far as going out or anything. And the weather is so terrible today. It's just cold, 30, 35 degrees, something like that. And I just don't want to leave the house. So we'll DoorDash some pizza and maybe watch a movie or catch up on some shows. And that'll be our Valentine evening, which is actually pretty awesome. Sounds pretty good to me. Next we have miscellaneous, which we did not spend. Gasoline we did spend $201.58 minus $48.37. All right, so that leaves us $153.21. You divide that by 2 weeks. That's plenty of gas. That's over $70 a week. I haven't even been hitting $60 on one full tank of gas fill up. So that's way more than enough. That should give me a good enough buffer before the end of the month to compensate if I overspend in a certain area because something came up or we just overspent. And hopefully I can save at least $76 one of these weeks completely and use that to pay down our debt. So that might be where the money comes from. We had zero copay, so we have $75, so that will change soon. I need to get my son's medication, and hopefully I'll get my medication as well. I need to make a phone call. Unbudgeted, obviously I don't budget for it. I didn't use it, and that means I used it out of the buffer of my checking account, and that did not happen. I did not spend out of that, so we're good to go there. So those are my new balances. I guess I could 75 divided by 2. I really just start with a number and then subtract from it. Copays are one of those things for doctor's appointments, medications, and it doesn't matter when they pop up. I just have what I need to cover it. So there's the weekly check-in. Now, with the weekly check-in, there are some additional things that I need to know to pay the credit card back. So everything you see here and that I spent, everything spent on here went on the credit card. Every week I do this weekly check-in, I use those totals, and I pay my credit card back. That way I'm not in debt, or right now too much debt. We do have a little bit of debt. I did do a debt tracker. I will show you that at the end of this video if you want to check it out. It'll be like a mini debt confession. So if you're interested, stick around to the end. But now we have to look at the bills that went on the credit card. So I was trying to come up with a bill tracker thing. I hand wrote one out. It looks messy, so I'm not going to show that. But I think what's going to be easy and simple for me with already the notes that I have is to draw a line between week 1 and week 2 bills. Now my bills are written in order of when they come out. not so much in any other order than the date that they come out. So which one's first to come out, which one's second to come out, things like that. So week 1 ended here at Hulu Plus, and these 3 were the 3 that I paid last week. And I know by just a glance at looking at this, which is what I'm looking for, that we had HP Instant Ink and then we had YouTube Premium. Those are the 2 bills that posted the credit card that I need to pay back this week. And then I had a note to myself somewhere, I think I threw it away already, that if you saw week 1's video, that I actually got the number wrong by a penny and did not pay enough to cover last week. And it was only off by a penny. So I added the penny here, and that sets us right for the new paycheck period coming up. My next video is paycheck 1 closeout, paycheck 2 setup. So after I get done with this weekly check-in, I'm going to go ahead and do that video, and that will come up on Saturday. This won't come up today on Friday. Okay, so let's go ahead and total up these bills that went to the credit card. $7.41 plus the $24.92, and that gives, oh, and plus the 1 penny I forgot last week. That gives us $32.34. I have notes on the back. Yep, that's the right number. And so we're going to total up all these together, and I'm going to write down what I paid the credit card back. $403.94 plus the $144.18 plus the $48.37 and plus the $32.34. All right, so I paid the credit card back for the spending and bills that went on the credit card for week 2 of the weekly check-in, $628.83. So that is what I paid the credit card back with, and we are good to go there. Now, another way I track my credit card, irregardless of the weekly check-in, is I just keep a log of it. So if it's simpler to do a transaction log and not a calendar like I have here, and then go back and forth with what bills and what, just every day you look at your credit card transactions, and then you just write them down as they happen. That's what I have here. And so it looks a little different. I'm going to take this out real quick because I actually paid a little bit more than what the spending payment was here. That's included in the $783.83 payment that I did. I added $155 because I had a sinking fund that needed to be paid on the credit card because Orkin came out and did what my quarterly thing now for spraying and granules and stuff to keep pests out of the house, mostly insects and stuff like that. And that's been working really well. And I have a great Orkin guy that helps take care of us and things like that. So my balance needs to be this debt balance, $2,035.17. If you're tracking your credit card spending like I do, and you have something like this, the date, the amount, description, what you owe, and how much available credit is, and my max available credit is always $24,000, so that's where my numbers come from. You need to know what you owe compared to what you're paying off on a regular basis. So I have a little debt tracker now. Here's my little debt confession. And that is my debt number, my debt balance here. We already have Friday's transaction on here for next week. I'll talk about that next week. But right now I want to do a little debt confession. So when I'm doing my credit card spending tracker, as I'm going through and posting everything on here and highlighting it exactly like I have here, I track things a million different ways. You don't have to do all of these trackers. You can pick and choose which ones you have to focus on that makes sense to you. So if you only want to do paycheck to paycheck and never do a monthly budget, that's fine. Just keep in mind of what paycheck's paying for what every month. With my paychecks or my husband's paychecks, it's a little easier because the beginning is always the last day of the previous month, and then you got the entire month to use up that income and then start new next month. Not everybody gets paid that way. Most of you get paid every other Friday or every other week, and you have 26 paychecks, and then you get a magic month and things like that. So it does require you to be forward thinking in a lot of areas. So just consider that. But for me, I was getting nervous having the debt balance on here. I had to put a sticky note to remind me and stuff like that, and I still have sticky notes everywhere. So I did come up with a debt tracker for myself. I've had these before, but it's been a long time. So I don't consider myself consumer debt free anymore because of this balance. And it's over $2,000. So right now I have this, pull these sticky notes off here, and I made a debt tracker to match my mortgage tracker. Very simple. It's just a full sticker page. I printed it and I cut it out and put it in here. It's easier than sometimes to do a full sticker page than it is to handwrite everything out and draw all the lines. So I decided to do this, and this is what January's looked like. I had a beginning balance at the new year. This is what was left over of our vacation in October. I think it was $2,400 back then. No, it was $3,000. It was $3,000 vacation that we did, include the hotel rooms and all the eating out and the activities. And this is what's left of that. I added $181.40 because we're traveling in April to Virginia to visit friends in our previous church. And this was a deposit for the hotel. And then I made a payment higher than that. So that brought the beginning balance down to this number. And I'm tracking on here February starting balance of debt, and then I added $417.17. This was the lawnmower that we had sent off to get blades replaced underneath. We have a riding lawnmower. We own the lawnmower. We don't have to make any payments on that. We paid for that up front. But we have the lawnmower, and we've been using it for a couple of seasons already of grass cutting, and it needed good maintaining. So they had to replace the blades because there were a few tree stumps that my husband hit and it bent the blades and stuff, so it wasn't cutting as well. And put sharp blades on them and adjusted everything, make sure everything was good and winterized and all the things. And we got it back. It was $417.17. I'm going to leave that here. But I also have made note for this trip here that I already put a deposit on for this. I'm going to put this with April. So I'm trying to think my debt through ahead of time. What I do know, and I love using the Marriott app. I always stay at Fairfield Inns. I used to work for them years ago when I was in college, and it's the hotel I like the most. I like Fairfield Inns. It's one of their basic hotels, but they're nice, comfortable, clean, and usually in really good places, and I like them. So, and it was a great company to work for. For the hotel in Virginia Beach, on the beach, facing the water, for the 4 nights we were there. Is it 4 nights? Yeah, 4 nights that we're there is $786. I think that plus that is the actual total. I'm guesstimating $250 worth of food, and I'm guesstimating $200 worth of gas. So the total trip that we still need to pay is $1,236. I'm hoping we get enough rewards cash by the end of the year to pay for this trip and cash with rewards money. So that is what I'm doing now. But normally my rewards cash, I don't cash out until November, December, till the last few months of the year. So that is something I have to consider when I'm planning this out and talking about my debt. Now back to my credit card spending tracker. Here is where I tracked that $417.17 for the lawnmower or riding lawnmower maintenance and stuff. This gives us a good idea of what to plan for in the future. I might set up a sinking fund to put some money aside for that. I'm also thinking of creating a sinking fund for our escrow, just to put a few $100s away that maybe we can pay down our escrow every time it changes, the property tax value changes, and if there's any money that we owe, I'd rather pay it up front than add it to the mortgage. Unfortunately, this year I'm adding it to the mortgage. If you saw that, my Mortgage Monday video. So there's that. So now I know what the debt balance is. I'm just going to keep a little sticky note. I can erase it and rewrite it as it changes. I have no plans to add any more debt this month, but that could always change. Why do I want debt? Why am I okay with this credit card debt? Right now I'm okay with it if I can keep it to a minimum because there is no interest being charged. If you look at my tracker, there's no interest fees being charged here. Everything is a purchase and paid, purchase and paid, purchase and paid, except for what this balance is. So because I put almost $4,000 a month on the credit card on our normal spending and bills, if you total it for the entire month, that's way more than what the minimum would be for the payment for how much is sitting on the credit card. And I utilize 8 to 10% of my credit card. And at least that's what what do they call it? Experian or Credit Karma or whatever, when you go in and look at what your credit score is and it'll tell you what your utilization is, breakdown, it's saying my credit card utilization because we only have the one credit card that we're using, nothing else. This is the only credit. It keeps it all in one place. It's the same bank. I have my checking account, my savings account, everything's in one bank for me. And I like having it that way because when you have multiple banks in multiple places, it can get confusing when you're tracking it. So if everything's in one place, it makes it easier. I can transfer payments easier. It just makes life easy. So that's what I have. And as long as I keep doing the normal charges and paying off charges, I won't get charged an interest fee for this as it goes up. I've had a charge much larger than this on there and I still never got an interest fee because I put so much on and paid so much off at a time. So it worked pretty well, but it has to be a very large number. It can't be just whatever the minimum is or just above the minimum. It has to be like 4,000, 5,000, whatever the large number is for you. So that is my debt confession, and that is my weekly check-in. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Have an amazing, blessed day. Bye.
Sun's coming up like the day before. You're like a stone on my pillow. I don't make a sound when I shut the door. You don't have to